I think my XSplit just... Oh, okay. We're good. How's it going, folks? Welcome into Overtalk. We're in episode 6, and we're starting our month-long role discussion and hero discussion. And today we're going to go ahead and start off with offensive roles and the heroes within it. Today I have with me Joshua Piscator Lee, Tanzan Madness X Zoo, Caleb Cablefin,
Buenas noches.
and Dylan Pepidus Hornenbrook. Good evening, gentlemen. How's everyone doing today?
I'm ready to talk about some offensive people. That's the theme, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
offensive people in
It's
esports.
Trump all day, every day. That is, we are talking Donald Trump all day today. It's going to be super offensive. We're going to lose every viewer in one go, and it's going to be grand.
Edgy right off the rip. My goodness. Somebody plays Genji.
Oh boy. So yeah, guys, this is one of the 4 major roles that we have in Overwatch, and there's 6 heroes in this role. So just so everyone's clear, we have Soldier 76, Tracer, Reaper, Genji, McCree, and Pharah. Those are our 6 offensive type heroes. So guys, how do we feel about the offensive role in general, or the offense role in general, how it fits in this game? Tanzan, what do you think?
I think it's mandatory to have offensive heroes, of course, but I don't feel like any of them help their team per se, which is you might expect that from characters like Reaper or Tracer, maybe not Tracer, but McCree, who just kill people. That's what they do, and that's great. But I personally don't like playing any of the offense heroes except Tracer, just because she's fun. But yeah, I kind of feel weird about them. It's probably my least favorite role in Overwatch.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree with you. Anyone the other side of that coin? Anyone really love offensive heroes? Anyone love this group that we have? Cable, what do you think?
I love Reaper. I know that he's maybe not everybody's favorite, but I really enjoy playing him. He's the one who I play the most. You can really sneak on people pretty cool. You can get behind those bastions, you can wreck their faces from behind or on top of them. That's even more fun if you can teleport on top of them and then just shoot down. I don't know. I have a lot of fun with him. And then Soldier 76 had one of the highest win rates of the beta when they did the tally, right? Or is that the open beta weekend that they gave a bunch more invites?
I think that was
Soldier
the open
76
beta.
had one of the highest win rates there. So I mean, he's pretty solid. All of their ultimates are pretty incredible. I mean, I guess Tracer's is the most underwhelming of the ultimates. And then let's see, Genji is super OP when you watch. What's that guy? The pro streamer's name? Seagull. When you watch Seagull play,
Yeah.
when he plays Genji, it's ridiculous. Because if you have high accuracy on him, you just headshot everybody, dead. He's amazing. But I guess it's true with Tanzan's point that it's not like they build a synergy with. I would say the exception of Pharah. Pharah can build some synergy really well. She can clear some pathways. She can progress a team or a payload, or she can move things forward. So I say she's the largest synergy-based offensive hero.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I disagree a lot in the fact that these offense heroes don't necessarily play a significant part in a team comp, because there are a lot of situations where you need each of these heroes in order to be successful, because things that Tracer and Genji, namely, things that they offer is backline access. And when you're up against a couple of bastions stocked up, in addition to a Reinhardt just sitting there, you need somebody who can get to the back and deal out a lot of damage in a quick amount of time. And Genji and Tracer are 2 of those heroes that can do a really good job at that. In addition, the fact that Soldier, I believe McCree, and what was the third one? Reaper, they're I think one of the only 3, or one of the few heroes in the actual game that shoot hit scan based projectiles instead of actual projectiles that take travel time and stuff. So especially in the case of somebody like Soldier, he's really good in putting out sustained damage in a very accurate setting, in addition to bringing the healing to those sustained gunfights as well. So Soldier's really good at frontline killing. Tracer Genji very good at backline access, and I feel like even though you can't really 1v5 with most of these guys, unless you're like a really good Genji, they serve a very important purpose, but you definitely need a team comp that can play with it.
Sure. Dylan, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the things that I see with this offense class is that there's a pretty sharp division, I think, in importance, especially if you watch the pro scene, because right now it is Pharah in a class of her own, and then everybody else on like this situational curve where they're like, okay, we need someone to fill in this DPS or this sort of need, whether it's backline infiltration or cutting off supply. And by supply, usually that's like if there's a Symmetra teleporter out there, you're going to need someone like a Tracer who excels at getting around the map, getting around flanking. Between, I really look at, Tracer, Genji, and Reaper as being flanks. They're side fighters. They're the guys that are going to go off on the side routes, figure a way into the back part of the enemy team. Whereas McCree, Pharah, and Soldier are all going to kind of play in the mid ground. They have, the range to do things, but Pharah takes the exceptional stance at the fact that she just dominates DPS. Usually due to the Mercy synergy, which you'll see more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Any pro match is going to be Mercy Pharah, and then as soon as her ultimate's up, the damage boost is going to be coming straight from the Mercy. And it's there like almost every game, ad nauseum. And a lot of the casters, when I was watching the coverage from ESL, Kaplan was talking about this, where the meta could very easily shift with a small change in numbers to be a 2 Pharah comp for every team instead of the pretty much mandatory 1 Pharah. And it's always really interesting because Pharah, McCree, McCree can play a much more upfront assassin if you want him to be. Like, he can get up there and mix it with people. But Pharah and Soldier stay at this midline of your team comp, and they hit the back line of the enemy team comp. They hit everyone. Their DPS is so ranged and varied and so easy. It's very easily accessible. There's not a high skill cap. I mean, if you really want to get the most out of your Reaper, your Tracer, and your Genji, the skill cap goes through the ceiling. You've got to be extremely on edge, quick reflex. Whereas Soldier, you just stand back, throw the damage out, try and aim and not screw up too badly. You're not dashing in and out. So I think there's an amazing skill difference in between champions. There's an amazing usage difference. There we go. Usage difference in between the heroes. And all in all, I think it's in a good spot where they're really necessary. Like, this isn't like anyone's thinking I'm going to go 0 offense comp unless you're doing like all Winston, all Diva, which is its own weird brand of cheese we don't really want to talk about. But I think they're solid. They're solid right now. And hopefully some other roles can be brought into a similar fashion, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that being said, Dylan kind of touched on it. Pharah is really kind of in a class of her own, professionally at least, or from what we've seen from the pro scene. But all these heroes have such a vast and like niched area, which honestly you can kind of say that for the other roles as well. But I think all the offensive heroes we have right now are. Can we say this is the most diverse group within these pairings that we have here, in terms of
within the different types
of
players?
roles? Yeah. Like each one kind of fits its own niche.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little overlap between these heroes, which is kind of interesting. Now, how Dylan, from what you've seen in the professional areas, what is the general number that you're running here of offensive heroes? Is it the it's the Pharah, and then what else? Is it another one extra
it's
supplement?
Pharah
or?
plus. It depends, and this largely has to do with how the tank and support classes end up evening out. The 2 heroes that I've kind of seen taken away from offense if they enter play is when a team runs a Zarya. You'll maybe see Pharah +1 or a Pharah +2, depending on Zarya's state. But really, it's a 2 to 3 offensive comp heroes. Tank then you have double support with Zarya doing tank slash DPS duty in some lineups. So I mean, it's a hefty part of the comp, and a lot of people, as opposed to defense, which I think we're going to get in and talk about, in a later week, which really has some problems right now. Attack really does have its place in team comps, especially since our main way of playing right now for competitive is stopwatch. It's all based around time, how quickly you can take things, how quickly you can wipe people off the map. So until we really find a new way to play professionally, I look for offense to at least always be, a third to a half of all team compositions.
Yeah, definitely speaking. Guys, what have you seen when we did have the beta? Rest in peace, beta. But
Good times.
When we did have the beta, what were you guys seeing? Were you seeing a lot of offensive heroes?
I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people choosing offensive heroes right off the bat because I do think they're fun to play individually, but it resulted in a lot of the team being spread out across the map and like no team cohesion,
Right.
and like they're trying their best to fulfill the role of offense, which is to do damage and kill people, but when it really mattered objective wise, I usually found them just not there for the team, which was a big turnoff for me.
Yeah. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of a hero discussion then, I guess. I guess we'll start with the most kind of basic hero that we keep talking about is Soldier 76. What do you think of Soldier 76?
I think if you come from a casual shooter like Call of Duty, Soldier's the first one you naturally drift to because his kit is really easy to use. He has a little bit of everything. He has burst in his rockets. He has sustained damage in addition to an aimbot for an ult. So I think even though he's incredibly
And even a heal, right?
Yeah, he has the heal, so he has sustain as well, and he has that zone control with that. So I think he can be really useful in competitive play as well in response to the right comp because he does a lot of sustain damage, plus it's hit scans based, so mobility is less of a factor in dodging his damage. So I think he's a really good all-around character, and if he's played right, especially his ult is like incredible cleanup if he has the right front line to tank for him.
Yeah. He's definitely would you say that he's the barrier of entry for most offensive heroes here?
I'd say he's the most friendly. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, he's the most friendly, but I think the step from Soldier to any of these other heroes is a very, very big step.
Mm-hmm.
Does his access of ease of access, does that limit his synergy in anyone's opinion, or his usefulness?
I don't think it limits his usefulness. I mean, he has his points in the kit. I mean, he's DPS with a slight utility kick with his heal. I mean, anyone who's faced like a 5-soldier cheese knows that you start lining those things up, it can be really hard to move Soldier on like waves of that healing. It's a significant heal. It's not, it's not Mercy heal, it's not Zenyatta heal, but it's there. It's DPS that's healing you, and he has extreme accuracy with his gun. I mean, yes, it's an automatic and it will drift up, but it only drifts up if you don't use burst fire. He has 4 shots from the gun that are absolute point-click accuracy, and as long as you cycle off your aim, so as long as you make sure that you're not repeating or holding down to automatic, he's going to fire extremely accurately for pretty much an assault rifle DPS. Like, I mean, this would not happen in a Call of Duty where you'd get a gun with this range, this attack speed fire, and this DPS output. I mean, he's almost my anti-aircraft weapon of choice here. Like, if a Pharah is tearing my team up, I'm like, okay, we need a Soldier, we need a McCree. I don't trust most people to use McCree to get a Pharah out of the sky, so I'm like, we need a Soldier. And more often than not, they can do a pretty decent job. You get Helix rocket off when Pharah starts the ult, you get the damage out there. He's pretty good at making sure that anyone that's not playing on the flat level, anyone who's not coming through the tank to get their damage done, that they're going to feel some pain. So I think he's got, his own things going for him that's not really limited by the way his kit's made.
Sure. Cable, what do you think?
Yeah, he's just even keel. He's reliable, right? And
That's a good
for
word.
for the for your newest players, is like everyone said, he's got the lowest barrier to entry, I believe, to learn. So everybody's going to pick him up and they're just going to have fun with him. But everyone's going to know exactly what he can do and what he can't do, and it's going to be pretty standard play, I believe, at a soldier. You're not going to have tons of flashy plays. You're not going to have anything, really mind blowing out of him. I'm sure some, in the future we'll find one, but in comparison to everything else, he's steady. He's middle ground with a very high win rate.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's just because everyone's learning the game, and the easiest barrier to entry with the most reliable play is going to be the highest win rate for the beginning meta. That's just always what happens.
Yeah. So I guess are we saying low ceiling or low floor and low ceiling as well, or like a medium ceiling? Is that what we're kind of saying here in terms of skill?
I'd say it's high floor, low ceiling.
No, yeah, high floor, low ceiling, right? Is that what we're saying for soldier?
In terms of power, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's like the Malzahar of Overwatch, where you're not going to screw it up too badly. Like the kit's designed, hey, as long as you're pointing and clicking, you're going to do some damage. Whether you're going to put together a highlight reel off of what you're doing, probably not. But in case you screw it up pretty bad, we're going to build in aimbot for you. It's gonna be there. Just press R. This game's gonna get a little bit easier.
That is the perfect description of soldier. Like, absolutely, like, none of us should say anything more about soldier.
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
So I guess we'll move on from soldier. We'll move on to McCree. Speaking of aimbots, it's high noon, fellas. What do we think about McCree?
The vein of Overwatch, where everybody tumbles forward and dies immediately.
Yeah.
No one's gonna land the stun.
No.
He's the one that people who feel like they're too good at 76 want to graduate to and then fail at.
Yeah. So is that sort of the natural progression here? Is it soldier to McCree? Because I mean their ultimates are somewhat similar. I mean, I wouldn't say their gameplay is, but I mean, is that the next step?
I believe it is. Like, I think it would make sense for someone who started on 76 to graduate to McCree, because if you're good at doing what 76 and or McCree is supposed to be doing, then McCree actually becomes way stronger. But then if you're not as good, then suddenly he's a lot worse. So like there's the skill potential, like it's just so much wider.
I think it depends on your temperament too. Like Soldier 76, I put in the mid-level of a composition. He's not going to be your front line, but he's definitely not going to be like sniper backline. He's going to be your middle of the pack, like DPS outputter. Whereas McCree's max effectiveness is really mixing it up with people. Like if he's not, tumbling and stunning, he's not using his kit. So he's got to really play either a flank or a dangerously frontal position. So I think if you're a much more offensive-minded person, or perhaps more of a lone wolf style, I think McCree can be great for you. Whereas Soldier is like, I'm just going to help the team here. Going to fire this gun and help the team.
But McCree also has the headshot thing, which to make McCree have as high of an impact or higher impact than Soldier 76, you need to land headshots. Landing headshots, so that's that's just an additional layer of skill that you'll need to have when you over 76.
Yeah, and I'd also like to say that for entry, this is, once again, we're talking the course of you're a console FPS person, you're going to roll 76 probably into McCree. Whereas I think if you're like TF2 entry, you're much more likely to enter on Pharah Tracer, depending on what role you played in that game. So, once again, console FPS storyline, I do think it's, Soldier into McCree and then, branch out from there. But if you're a TF2 player, there are other classes that I think you really entered on much quicker.
Sure. Josh, Cable, what do you guys think of McCree?
I just can't think of anything that McCree does that isn't better fulfilled by Reaper, Tracer, or even Genji to a certain degree. Because Tracer, she can get in quick, but she also has an exit button with her blink out. But McCree's one of those like, yo, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna stay there, and I hope to God it works out well for me, because he jumps. He's never gonna be your entry fragger. Like that. That is where all McCree's like tend to feed. Like if he's the first one in,
Hmm.
he's really good at like secondary offense because he brings a whole lot of burst, and he has CC in addition to it. But he really suffers from after you use that tumble for the reload reset. You don't do anything else. Like you have to sit. You're useless for the next like second and a half or however long his reload lasts. But somebody like a tracer can go in, burst somebody down by shooting and seeing a clip into their face and just get right out. Reaper can just jump in, hit R, and then everybody just die, 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 and then everybody's just dead anyway. Genji has like resets all over the place, and McCree, it's like if you go in, you need to kill everybody that you were intending on killing, or you're just a sitting duck. You're
needs to
always
be
going to
high
be like
noon.
trading.
Yeah.
It's high noon. Yeah.
It needs to be high noon. Cable, what do you think?
I tried to play all the heroes before the beta ended, but McCree was the one that I did not play, so I don't have much experience playing him. But everybody who played him on my team was either horrible or amazing. That's the trick with McCree.
It was funny. We were at BlizzCon. We played with Lothar, who's a Hearthstone player. If anyone knows who Lothar is, but he was wrecking us pretty hard with McCree. And the thing that I've really seen is the flank potential from McCree is so much higher than pretty much any other hero in my opinion. Like Josh was saying, the secondary wave of attack coming in from McCree is just so brutal, because he can burst you down extremely quickly, and there's really very little you can do with if they're hitting their CC correctly.
Yeah, and I actually want to draw back to Josh's analogy here. McCree is kind of like Vayne. It's
Yeah,
an
I thought that was really
exceedingly
good.
good duelist character. If
Yeah.
he's on the edge and he's not being focused by 5 people, it's hard to beat him in a one-on-one. If you're playing inside of his range, so if you're playing in the small buildings, the small alleyways that are symptomatic of the outside of the map, he is very tough to deal with, especially like King's Row. I think is one of the places where he really shines. Is people have to come inside of his range. They have to come inside of where he can start, doing his full unload damage from point blank and deal with him. And then the second he's won a flank fight, he can get into your backline and he can take out your supports very quickly. Now, would Reaper do a better job about taking out the supports? Yeah, he's going to do that. His infiltration's much better, but he has a much tougher time dealing on the one-on-one than McCree does, just in my opinion.
Sure. And like I ran into a situation multiple times during the beta where of all things in the back lot of Hollywood in that Wild West area, if the team's pushing the payload, and you can get a one-on-one in one of the saloons and then come out the other side and go out around that backline like you were saying, Dylan, like that it's McCree's are great in one-on-one confrontations. And so going back on what Josh was saying, that every other hero in this kind of role does what McCree does better. Would you say that it's a jack of all trades, master of none kind of a thing, Josh? Where he just does everything kind of in a mid-tier level?
I mean, I didn't really think about the 1v1 aspect until now, and in terms of just 1v1, I mean, honestly, if a Pharah hits you in the face, that 1v1's over immediately, and because she's just stupid broken. But honestly, I think besides the 1v1 and in the competitive play, you're never really going to just find a pure 1v1 most of the time. I guess a jack of all trades, but I think at the same time, he just like, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Like, he has like a really weird identity in the world of Overwatch, and in a game with so much verticality, like that's the one thing that just hard counters McCree, because he can't get there. Like, he has short little cowboy legs. He can't jump up there.
No, that's a really good point. Like any champion or any hero that really doesn't have the ability to get to a second level or even a third level it's pretty ganked as far as the way the game's, at least how the meta's evolving right now. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe there will be some heroes later on that are going to be like Flight Commander and can, throw teammates up in the air and things like that. I guess Mei can do that to some extent. Sure. But until something comes and really changes up verticality, like the Hollywood map does a really good job about helping out the heroes that don't have verticality. It has those
elevators.
platforms going up and down. Yeah, those elevators really were a game changer as far as map development. So if that's the route they go on map development, it could become less, but until they do, verticality is a huge weakness for them.
I know we're talking about offense heroes, but those elevators, if you put a Bastion on the elevator,
So dumb.
so
Yeah,
funny.
it's
Don't
so
tell
dumb.
people. It's so
Don't-
dumb.
They can't do it right now anyway. It's okay. We're safe. We're safe for now. But yeah, guys. So on the other end of that spectrum, I guess what Dylan was talking about, the other evolution, I guess we'll hit up Tracer, the poster child of Overwatch, so to speak. What do you think of Tracer?
Super unique concept and gameplay, and very engaging for people. Everybody I know who looks at it, like you said, the poster child, they look at Tracer and like, oh, that looks so fun. And of course, Tracer was the first hero to make it into Heroes of the Storm as well, because it has a very cool, usable kit. I mean, you can
Plays like Echo.
yeah.
Pretty much.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But teleportation. Everybody loves teleportation, and she's super fast. She has her quirky little personality. In my opinion, playing her, I probably suck with my accuracy, my gun accuracy. I can't ever do enough damage with her. It takes me forever to do damage.
I agree.
And when I go through
I
like
concur with
3
that.
clips, I can't kill anybody. Sure, I never die because I'm zip, 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 but I never can kill anybody. And then her ult is, if you stick somebody, awesome. And if you have a bunch of them, you can like throw, if you play a bunch of Tracers in the same game, you can throw your ults on the objectives and it just blows, it just is awesome. We played a 12 Tracer game, right?
Sounds like
Oh,
the biggest
God.
headache.
Does anybody
That was
die?
amazing. People die, but probably only from ults. The most we had 11, and we couldn't convince the last guy to switch from Genji to Tracer, and so he finally switched. It was so much fun. It was one of those games that you'll remember forever. I think somebody put up a YouTube video of it.
There's a YouTube video of it somewhere. I'll post it in the description box. But yeah, that I watched it. It's just the biggest headache. It's
it's very difficult to follow. You don't know where anybody is. But the funny thing about it is with Tracer as a hero, but especially if you do multiple Tracers. So let's say you're running behind as a team, and you don't think that you're going to be able to test. Have everybody switch to Tracer, and you all zip over there, and you can just keep tagging the checkpoint. And so it always stays on overtime. It's almost impossible to run that clock down because somebody will always tag it. So, whatever your objective mode is, just an interesting little strategy that came up from that game.
Huh. Interesting enough. So Tansy, you said you agreed with Cable about the damage output. What's up with that?
Yeah, so there are only, I think, like 1 or 2 heroes, or a couple heroes that she can one clip, like from a flanking maneuver. And by that time, your flank is done, so you have to get out of there. So I feel like her individual impact overall on the course of a game is too little. Even her sticky bomb doesn't kill tanks, like, at all. And then so, you might be able to get a really good flank in, but then, like, what's the consequence for the other team? It's like you get a little bit of ping damage, and then you fire a couple shots at Tracer and she has to retreat. Like, I think she's super fun to play. I think she's an awesome character, but I don't think her impact on the game is high enough.
Yeah. Josh, Dylan, you guys agree?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, she is really good into squishy comps, but any team running with half a brain is not going to run a team of 5 squishies. Like, the best team is going to run 5 divas, right? That's what it is, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Dude, five divas and a Lucio.
Pretty much, but she's only good in, like, very, very situational spots, and I don't think we'll be seeing her come out. She'll be more of a responsive type of hero pick, I think, rather than, all right, we're going to run a Tracer in every comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree that it is a responsive choice. But I think the one thing Tracer excels at is confusion and chaos. She's going to make it that all that walking time you have in between res and point is hell. Because there are very few people that can quickly deal with Tracer and her dashing. Especially if the person you're playing is very good and knows how to time out his dashes. She has duelist potential. She can be extremely tough to deal with. Like, say, if you're Roadhog and you miss that hook, which, let's face it, against a Tracer, you're more than likely going to miss that hook. You're not going to deal well with her damage, especially if she's dancing around you. Now, given, is she going to kill you? Maybe no. Maybe she'll leave you with like 200 health. But at that point, you've spent how many seconds trying to deal with something you know you're not going to kill and not backing up your team on the point or on the payload? I think for an offensive hero or a defensive hero that is purely there to be an annoyance and to make walk time longer than it needs to be, there's an effective role there. Now, whether your team is good enough to say, hey, we're going to have 5-man comp and we're really going to stick to the payload, we're going to push, we're going to get points and do all of this while Tracer's out there and sowing the seeds of chaos, that's great. Maybe that's her role. But it severely limits her as far as our point cap maps, where she would really only be a point A offense type or payload until you're on that final push, and then she's just worthless.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think.
Well,
I was gonna say, I do think she has a very high skill ceiling, perhaps one of the highest skill ceilings of all the offensive heroes. And in the right, if you think about it, her kit is set up that in the right hands, if you had perfect skill at this game, the ultimate #1 skill in the world of this game, I think Tracer would be the best hero to be on, because you would never die, and you would, if you're headshotting everybody, you're gonna get kills. I think Tracer's probably in the perfect, if you had a computer controlling the character in the perfect manner, she would be the best hero in the game. Because she could dodge everything and she could be everywhere. A little semi-amateur pro tip, but I didn't realize until I played that game with all of them that you can teleport going any of the WASD directions. I always thought it was only W that you could teleport in forward, but you can teleport backwards, left, right, which makes it pretty interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I just think like the mobility and her movement and speed is just so hard to contest with, especially in a duelist mentality. Like we just talked about how McCree is so good in one-on-one situations. If the McCree can't hit you, you're probably going to win the duel, as long as that takes. And I think she's just a great distraction. Like she's just, like Dylan was saying, she's a great distraction, man. Like you could spend so much time, and maybe you'll get the Tracer, but it's gonna take you a while to kill her. If the Tracer's moving around, of course. If you guys are at an equal skill level, it's gonna take you a while to kill her. But what were you saying, Dylan?
Oh, I was going to say another thing that I just thought of, and I just wanted to throw this point out. Since we talked about McCree's verticality, we actually need to talk about her ability to. It's not really a gap closer, but it's a gap jump over. So this has certain points where if you reach elevation, so if you're on the 2nd or 3rd level, if you use all of her dashes concurrently, it's not like Reinhardt where you go forward and you automatically drop down to the lowest level and go. You are actually hopping in space. So you can't go higher, but you can maintain the level that you're at. And you can jump over gaps. One of the most notable ones is the Hanamura gap, the gap to the patio on side B. She can actually make that entire distance if you use her dashes in concurrence. And there are a lot of other points and maps where you can use it to go high points. So you can use it to, dash around the top of Gibraltar and kind of fight around in places like that. So I think her mobility not only goes with dashing and, WASD single planar motion, you have to really take into account that single planar motion can be used on the 3rd and 2nd tiers.
Sure. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize with Overwatch characters. Like, I remember someone was really surprised one game when I did a thrust boost with D.Va that flew her upwards. Like, there's actually it's a pretty there's like a handful of characters that can actually get up to pretty high levels here and use the verticality like we've been talking about. That people just aren't aware of.
I know it would be an even extra power level to Tracer, but I would love it if you were able to tap your jump key spacebar and the teleport at the same time. If you teleport straight upwards, I think it'd be pretty cool. I don't know how you could effectively use it, but I think it'd be pretty cool. Just so you could maybe you could death from above people, just like jump and then shoot downwards.
Sure. You can get a Pharah. You can go get yourself a Pharah. You wouldn't be able to kill the Pharah, but you can go
Yeah,
ahead and
actually.
you can tickle
Oh
the
god,
Pharah.
because we need more Pharahs in this game.
You could tickle the
Yeah,
Pharah.
we all need more Pharahs. That's the key takeaway.
Do we
No,
we
that's
know
actually
why?
a really interesting point. Go ahead, Tansen.
Oh, sorry. Do we know why her dash was restricted to like a 2D plane and not like towards her mouse?
Yeah, I really think that is an actual nerf to her. I think once again, this is unsubstantiated. This is just pure speculation. But I think her design originally had her or allowed her to dash in whatever areas she's facing. So if you're going up and forward, it would go that way. But it just gave her too much access to the map. I mean, I think map design is going to have a lot to do with the power of different classes. And the more they restrict motion to the upper levels of maps, it's going to clearly be saying, hey, you need to start bringing certain heroes to this party if you want to start using the higher ground on certain maps. So I think this really is a conscious effort by them to say, hey, if you want access to these places, you're really going to have to think about how to get there with Tracer. We're not just going to give her every tool to get everywhere in the game. Because really, if you give her a tool to get everywhere, there are very few places where defense heroes like Hanzo and Widowmaker are ever going to feel safe, if they can ever feel safe at all.
Right.
You're never safe in Overwatch. Never safe. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's a talk of Tracer, but so let's save Genji and Pharah for last. Let's go on. Cable, tell me about your boy Reaper.
That's my boy. Oh, I love Reaper so much. He's so fun to play. I will always, even if I switch heroes in the game, or I'm, something's more effective in a pro level team comp, I will always just default back to Reaper because it's so fun to get in people's faces and sawed off shotgun right in their faces. And his mobility's there, right? He can teleport up to high places. I love on Temple of Anubis, which is a broken map, obviously, but you can there's like a pillar, there's some columns. If you're facing the checkpoint on the right, there's some columns with a horizontal thing. You can teleport up there, and most people don't know about it, and you can just shoot them. If anybody's walking down below in the little pathway, even though you have a shotgun, you're actually still doing pretty good damage on them because you're getting headshots from above. So you can use it to take out Widowmakers and Hanzos that are sitting on the little circles that are around the columns. It's a lot of fun. I really love playing with Reaper. His Shadow Walk, that's the name of the one where he's invincible, right? And he's just like floating.
I think so.
His Shadow Walk is super, super helpful. If you get stuck in a tight spot and you win a little bit too ham or YOLO, then you can just Shadow Walk backwards out of it or get out of it. If they're really good, they follow you, but you can usually do some fancy footwork.
Shadow Step, Cable, by the way.
Shadow
Step is his blink. Wraith form is the one where he's in
Wraith
targetable
form.
moving.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yes. Wraith form. That's what it's called. But you can also grab heals. You can grab the health packs while you're in Wraith form. So if you're super low and you know that there's a health pack around you, then you Wraith form over the health pack, you grab it, and they can't stop you. Now you're full health again, which is pretty helpful. And then not to mention his sustain from his the little bubbles that come up from him getting kills, and they give you 20 health or something. It's not a lot, but if you get them consistently, you're constantly topping off your health all the time. So it's a lot of fun. He does great damage. I love in the beginning of the maps when you're locked down in your little corridor, I love shooting the little things and trying to, like the soda cans or the popcorn. I love trying to keep them in the air, right? You like shoot it into the air and you just keep shooting it to keep it in the air. It's a fun character.
Does anyone not like Reaper that can argue with Cable?
Yeah, do it.
Anyone? All right, I'm gonna take a shot at it.
Yes.
Yes. Dylan always. Okay. Guys, time out, by the way. Time out. If anyone watched last week's episode, we talked about maps. As we were breaking down Volskaya Industries, Dylan was the one in the chat saying that how awesome Volskaya Industries was. So
That's
Dylan
why he wasn't on the episode.
I was not on the episode. I now wish I was. It would have been a much more, controversial episode.
But yeah, Dylan is devil's advocate. So Dylan, why do you not like Reaper, or why do you not think Reaper is a good champion or hero?
So Reaper definitely has his role. He is the play of the game champion. It's like if you get Death Blossom off, kudos. You've done something major. You've probably capped a point, or at least pushed a payload to a checkpoint. Like that's it. If you don't get Death Blossom off, you really don't have a whole lot to do. I mean, once again, he is a flanker duelist, so his job is to go onto the outskirts, find a way into the enemy team, hopefully kick out a Mercy before a res. But if you get caught by almost anyone when it's full frontal and they can see you coming, you're probably not going to land the kill. He's really got to be a lot closer than most offensive champs, and most offensive heroes. I really got to get heroes instead of champs down. It's too much time in league.
It's tricky, yeah.
Yeah, it's killing me. But his offensive range is the lowest we have in the game. As far as the distance you have to be effective, he's got to be pretty close up to really do some damage. And then when we're talking close up, there are some tanks that are really going to mess him up. Like you put him against a Diva, you put him against a Reinhardt, he's going to feel some pain for getting that close. And then if anyone has any way to negate him, like Mei ruins your day on Reaper. You run into a good Mei and you're not getting into the enemy team. You're going to be frozen half the time. You're going to have so many things cut off from you. So I think you have to be an amazingly cerebral player to play Reaper and to play Reaper effectively. And it's just hold ult. Finally, someone did something. The CC has landed whatever very minimal CC we have in this game. And now I'm going to go out and Death Blossom. But it's really that hit or miss. Did the ulti land? Yes, no, binary, effective, ineffective champion.
Do I get a counter argument?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Everyone
Caleb.
gets a counter argument. It's a discussion.
All right, so first off, the Death Blossom placements. It's not in my play that I've had. Okay, quick random side point. Was there actually an MMR in the beta or not really? Was it just random?
I'm not entirely sure.
It was light. I think it was more how many people you were playing with.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's more
because
based on the group
it
system
did
than
seem
anything.
like the more I won, the harder it got, like a little bit, but it was very random. Anyways, the most effective Death Blossoms I've seen and that I've gotten are when you can drop when you jump down into a group. So let's say that they're escorting the payload or that they're defending the checkpoint. Then if you can drop down from above and pop your ult right as you're falling, then that's when you get the most kills. That's when you have the most effective Death Blossoms that I've experienced or been a part of. The next point about facing tanks, I fully agree that Mei is a pretty hard counter to Reaper. I have a really hard time dealing with Mei. Not only can she heal herself where she's invulnerable, but she just, I don't know, it does not take damage from Reaper.
We'll have a
maybe
Mei
her
discussion
hitbox
somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll have a Mei discussion farther on down the line. But yeah, she is a pretty hard counter.
Her hitbox is not very big, and he relies on hitbox. So, but the other thing about the other tanks is, I actually have been on teams with people who all communicate in solo queue, and we all have voice, and people will say, "Oh, they have a bunch of tanks. Let's get at least 1 or 2 Reapers," because you can get up close to the tanks, and their hitbox is so large that you hit your entire damage on them. And it's real easy to dance around the tanks and get full damage on them. I love going up against a Winston or let's see who Winston or
Reinhardt or something like that.
Reinhardt, Zarya.
Reinhardt. Yeah. And a Diva. Yeah, I don't mind getting up against a Diva. I can outdance a Diva almost every time with a Reaper.
No one else.
You get up close. Now when she when she pops out of her machine, when she's her little person, it's impossible. It's so she will the little person. What do you call it? I don't know.
The pilot.
Zero suit.
Pilot.
The Zero Suit Diva.
Yeah.
Zero Suit Diva, yeah.
A Zero Suit Diva can actually 1v1 a Reaper. I've died to Zero Suit Divas plenty of times because she's so accurate and she can dance. Her hitbox is so tiny.
No lie though, not even Josh. Don't laugh, but like not even kidding. I think Zero Suit Diva can honestly 1v1 any. You gotta be real careful, but she can 1v1 anyone.
I
Like,
agree. I've done it a lot.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah.
But continue.
So, anyways, I feel like I like to pick Reaper into big tanks or face him 1v1 versus big tanks. The other one who's really rough on me is Symmetra as a counter to Reaper because she slows you and she has the sustained damage, and her little turret things are super annoying when you're trying to dance around the map for a Reaper. Yeah, you can use your Wraith form to get out of it real quick, but it pretty much closes you off from where you need to go.
You can ping her turrets from hella far away. They'll die in one hit.
Yeah, I guess even with Reaper shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bad Symmetra. If you're seeing her turrets from far away,
Yeah,
that's a really bad Symmetra.
Usually, I have to dip into the room, and then I'm walking in the room, and I go, oh crap! I Wraith form out, and then I dip in real fast and turn around.
See,
and
to me, a good Symmetra is like remember in Brood War with lurker boxing, where you literally wait until the person walked like midway into the box and then just like sent them all out. That's a good Symmetra, where you literally have zero escape from that situation. All right, so Tanzan, Josh, really quickly, gotta move on. But thoughts about Reaper? Anything to add?
I think Reaper, so going back to the whole Tracer being underpowered thing, I think Reaper and Tracer have similar roles, but Reaper overall is better in almost every way in a given, like any given situation. Like Tracer has higher mobility, but Reaper has enough mobility to cover that. Like he has enough. However, his damage output is so much greater, and like he has his ult, he has his shotguns. I think in any situation I could think of that I would use Tracer in, I would rather use Reaper and then probably be more effective over the course of a game. That's my thought on that.
Josh?
I agree with Dylan in that without his ults, he suffers a lot. And I think Reaper's one of those people that against really bad players, he's a freaking monster. He can just walk
He's
in.
the pump stomper.
But if as a tank you let a Reaper get like 6 shots off into you, you deserve to lose anyway. Because like when you said like he can take down Divas and Reinhardts, I feel like that's what I default to if there's a Reaper, because I see him Wraith form and I'm like, all right, this bitch wants it. Then I hit him with the hammer and he's dead. But I think against bad players, Reaper's amazing. But without his ult, he's incredibly limited in what he can do. That's like my very short spiel.
Okay.
Yeah, Reaper is great when there's no coordination and the other team doesn't know you're there. The second the enemy team knows you're there, like the steps can be taken to nullify him.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
I would say
he is
the
a
exact
ghost.
same thing about Tracer.
Yeah,
Except
Yeah.
Tracer
but you
will
can't catch Tracer.
Tracer will tickle you,
You don't
and
need
then run
you don't
away.
need to catch Tracer. You fly swat her and she goes away, and then she's gone until her dashes come back or her E comes back. Like she does so little anyway. It doesn't matter if you kill her
She
or not.
tickles you and then like comes back later and it's like, okay, I'll be back.
Yeah, it's only annoying. Reaper will destroy you if you don't like send him away before.
All right, guys. So let's get into sort of it's really the cream of the crop here. We're getting to Genji. What do you think of Genji?
Master Yi.
Yes.
Yeah, Master Yi.
Yes, Sir Yi. No, dude, he's Raiden from Metal Gear Solid Rising. Yeah. But guys, what do we think of Genji's? On a more serious note, what do you think of Genji? Anyone love Genji? I don't think he's super good.
I think he's super
Well,
OP.
he is
I do
super
not know
good.
how
I
to
don't
use him.
like him.
I'm terrible with him. I don't have much.
Yeah, I'm
How
terrible
you
at
just
Genji.
get your ultimate, then you just 1v6. It's
Yeah.
stupid. I hate that little ninja.
You don't even have to like aim. You just like.
Click, click,
I mean,
click.
it's
Oh,
a
look,
reset
and to
champ.
kill.
Why
Yeah,
did this
face
game need
roll.
a reset champ?
Yeah.
Like, that's-
So the
Yeah.
reset mechanic. I mean, like this is something we haven't tackled before. What, like, is that the single thing that makes him so broken? Like, is it that reset mechanic?
That's
Yeah.
not the thing. I don't think.
What is making Genji so good at this point? Like we all agree that he's really good, but what makes him?
Reflect.
No,
Yeah.
the reflect is
I was
whatever.
gonna say, Reflect is super strong. If you reflect anything, McCree ult or a
Pharah ultimate.
Pharah ult is sick to reflect. Or I've seen a couple of people reflect the shot from Widowmaker, and the Widowmaker dies. It's pretty funny. That's super OP. And then his mobility he has, I think, more mobility than almost any champion that can't fly. I guess here that can't. If you can fly, yeah, but he has double jump and he can climb walls. Okay, in Hollywood, he can literally get anywhere.
I don't see the thing about his deflect is like you named all these abilities that you don't shoot at a Genji. Like he's not where you would normally shoot those abilities. Like the Pharah ult, you're not shooting missiles at someone who's flanking you. You're shooting it into the middle of the other team. So like how are you going to deflect that if you're not in the middle of the team where a Genji
you jump
is not
in the
as
middle of the
effective?
team. If you see her start to ult, you jump in the middle of the team. You throw your deflect on.
But how many times are you going to be that? Usually you're going around side paths or you're trying to be on the sides where you
Not
can,
everyone's a
catch
solo
squishy.
artist, Tanzin. Some people
Well,
are
I think
team
Genji
players.
is an extreme solo artist.
Have you seen these
I mean,
idiots in solo queue just jumping in the middle as Genji? He can do
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say he's not
Don't
only
underestimate
not only
your
a
solo
flanker.
queue Genji.
Yeah. And the other thing is this hyper accurate, high damage shot with pretty quick reload time. You can do so much damage with Genji. He has a spread fire. I don't know. Does anybody even use the spread fire? I always just see him do the regular.
Yeah,
no.
it's regular or nothing. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm bad at
like,
aiming,
There's
so I right click.
there you go. He's got so much, and I think he is the biggest bane in my mind to the defense class. Like, if you've ever played Bastion or Torbjorn against a Genji, you just already know you've lost. Like, like being in Bastion turret form and seeing a Genji coming is like the biggest letdown in the world. I'm like, oh great, this is now done. I have to.
Sick
No, I'm
counterplay.
dead. Yeah, it's like, great. I'm now useless. Let's go change class. And until they find a way to really kind of balance out Genji's complete dominance reflect, you're not really going to see a lot of the defensive champions out there.
Have you guys seen the video where they do two Genjis and they reflect back and forth? It's really funny.
Really?
Yeah,
there's a
I
video
think it's
of
an IGN Overwatch Mythbusters or something like that. And they do it. They shoot a Pharah rocket and they just reflect it back and forth between the two Genjis.
Yeah, and it actually works. It's actually pretty funny. Goes for a while. But yeah, so Genji's really good. Deflect's really good.
Yeah,
Tanzin.
overall he's super strong.
Yeah.
Super mobile. So the thing you mentioned about Tracer with her being able to triple dash over gaps, Genji can do it too. He double jumps and then dashes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if he misses, he
Not
can
to
just
mention
climb
the
up the
fact that he
freaking wall
can
anyway.
fly.
Yeah. Why can't he do everything? It's like they're like, we like all these abilities. Let's just make a character that can do literally everything. Snipe, 1v1. If you get shot at, it doesn't matter because you have a freaking Diva shield that's even better than a Diva shield. It's like,
Nothing.
come
better
on.
than
Doesn't last-
And his
it doesn't
ult is like,
last-
let's one-shot squishies.
Not to mention Dragon Blade can pretty much effectively be a Death Blossom. In the right hands, you're going to get the kill, you're going to get the reset, you're just going to go flying around the enemy team, killing everyone.
Yeah. A cool little dev thing that we learned at BlizzCon was that Hanzo and Genji used to be the same in development. They were the same character, and then they split them into two and made them brothers, right? So I think that's a little cool backstory behind the character.
Yeah, it's the whole Blizzard, like, we want to have a clear theme in each of our characters. And, like, an archer ninja swordsman is too much.
All right, guys. So as much as we're saying we love Genji,
No, we don't love him. We
No,
know that he's strong.
as strong as we're saying Genji is, there's one that is stronger. There is the mighty Pharah, and why is Pharah and why is she so
The only
strong?
one.
She flies, she AoEs. What more do you want?
So AoE long range damage. She flies. She has the best mobility out of everyone because she can effectively be everywhere in a 360 direction. I mean, let's already call the bullshit out on that. Not to mention the fact that the guys that are really good at this game right now, you look at the pro scene, a hefty majority of them are all coming from TF2. Now, if you've watched Pro TF2, you know that almost every single composition is double soldier. That means that the people that are coming in with the best PC FPS experience for this game right now, the ones that are essentially meta setters, are people that have this almost ingrained nature between the soldier in TF2 and Pharah. They're like, okay, I've got my rocket dynamic that I understand. I have a blowback that probably most of them already knew how to use. And now we're saying instead of rocket jump, which you used to master,
Fly.
where you had to take
You can
damage,
just fly.
we're just going to give you that for free. No damage cost whatsoever, and you get to be everywhere.
Yeah.
The only thing going against her is her HP. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Which
if you get
we solve by pairing her with a Mercy at all times.
So
Like, you don't see a pro game that isn't Mercy and Pharah just having their winged party up in the sky raining
Yeah.
death on
yeah.
it.
Shit, they
Is there
gave
a
her the
reason-
they
is-
gave her the perfect support too, the one that can fly with her.
Yep.
is there a reason like Widowmakers aren't picked to shut down Pharah's? Because I feel like that's what I saw the most during whatever game time I had.
I think just because you have
Genji!
Genji and then you have Mercy there
Yeah.
too. So like if you have Genji with them and then you have Mercy, like so Mercy's just gonna heal Pharah, right? And then you have to snipe the Mercy first, which at that point you're giving away your position.
Wait, does a Widowmaker headshot kill a Pharah in one hit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to hit her. I mean,
Yeah.
let's remember, you have a target that's bobbing up and down in a 3D direction. This isn't like
Sure.
Call of Duty where
Okay,
you have
well,
a guy.
okay. If you're gonna talk about the highest tier soldier TF2 players coming in, then you also have to talk about the snipers.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that. I'm just saying,
Surprisingly, Sniper has never played in professional TF2. It's double scout, double scout, double soldier, medic.
Right. I'm not saying they were part of the meta, but like the skill ceiling, the skill cap is there. The high skill players are coming with them,
yeah.
and they're gonna be picking up Widowmaker maybe.
No, but
And
also
so-
Tenzi, you gotta remember too, they have Mercy with them, so like if you miss even a little bit, if
Sure.
you, like she's gonna get automatically healed back up, and then even if not, then like she can get rezzed, right? Because they're gonna hold that res for the Mercy or for
But
the
I'm not
Pharah.
saying it's foolproof, but
No, I'm
that's-
just saying like
there's
that's
potential there.
Yeah, I understand the potential there. I'm just saying like maybe if you had two Widowmakers and you had one, we had one headshotting the Mercy and one headshotting the Pharah at the same time, the coordination levels. But yeah, I completely
I
agree.
like it. It's a good strategy.
Yeah. I like
Honestly,
it too.
though, what is the pick into Pharah besides another Pharah?
Alt F4.
Alt F4.
I usually go, yeah, either other Pharah or for me, it's been Soldier. I feel that Soldier gets kind of the same, more reliable DPS level than, say, a Widowmaker or a Hanzo, and you have a much easier time getting your full strength out. One of my main problems with both Hanzo and Widowmaker is you're extremely punished for missing that first shot, whereas if the first shot goes awry, your load up to make sure that you have an equally powerful second shot is a lot longer. With Soldier, if I miss my first shot, I've got to wait like 0.2 seconds, and then I'm right back again shooting you again. So that's my light solve, but even then it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're that
enough.
good with Widowmaker and Hanzo, you may as well just play it into every single team comp if you can hit that first shot perfectly every
If
time.
you're that good with a Widowmaker, go try out for a CS:GO team. You're an opper in,
So much
in
more
real
money
life. Like, just go play CS:GO. We'll see you later. We understand.
We understand. Please,
So
please
true.
understand. So yeah, guys, I guess that's all of the hero discussions. I guess we can get into a little bit of a power ranking before we end it up. Who wants to go first? Who has a basic power ranking here?
I made one early on before we started all this.
All right, Tanza, what do you got?
All right, Pharah, obvious. Soldier, Genji, Reaper, McCree, and Tracer.
Okay. Any
That's mine.
anyone have a list similar? Mine's semi similar to that. Anyone agree with Tanza?
So you said Pharah, Soldier.
Yeah,
Say it
Genji.
again.
Wait,
Soldier,
Pharah,
Genji.
Soldier, Genji, Reaper, McCree,
Uh-huh.
and Tracer.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
swap. Soldier and Genji. So I'd say Pharah, Genji, Reaper, Soldier, McCree, Tracer. That would be mine.
Cool.
I would go Pharah, Genji, That's it. I'm just
Everyone else, I don't
Pharah,
even know why they're
yeah,
here.
no. Pharah, Genji, Soldier, Reaper, Tracer, McCree.
Okay, McCree at the bottom.
Hmm.
Dylan.
Well, I guess I'll go. So Pharah Genji, obviously, that's our 1-2.
That's default.
For me, I actually put McCree at the number 3 slot because I think he, depending on how your team's really running composition wise, if flanker is the thing that I want, McCree is the one I go to. And then I will go Reaper, Soldier, Tracer.
Cool. So I honestly have almost what Dylan has, except I swapped Soldier and Reaper. So I have Pharah, Genji, McCree, Soldier, Reaper, and Tracer. I think we all have
Tracer,
We all
bottom
have
tier
Tracer at the
champion.
bottom, right?
I'm the only one that doesn't have Tracer at the bottom.
Where'd you have her? 5?
She's 5. I mean,
5,
she's,
like second to last.
she's real bad. She's real down there.
Oh, she's.
It's like
she's not
McCree's great
useful.
at flanking, but he takes so freaking long to get there. By
At
that
least he
time,
can
yeah,
kill
lose two
things.
objectives.
Let's-
At least he can kill people
You know,
if
we
he gets
didn't
in
even-
range.
We didn't talk about this, but the walk speeds between all of these champions are also greatly different.
Yeah.
Like the fact that McCree is so slow for an offensive hero is almost like
Dude, he needs a
it
mount.
almost
He needs
makes
a horse.
him feel unplayable. Like,
All right, Clint
play
Eastwood,
Soldier
start
and
walking,
then
yeah.
play McCree, and it feels like you're pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Dude, he needs a horse. He needs a. He
Yo,
needs
that'd
a
be
mount,
sick. I'd play the crap out of McCree if he got a horse.
right? Dude, you can gallop. The best part would be if you can't control the speed of your horse. So like your horse will just move as the speed at which it wants to move. It's a little bit of RNG for your.
You have to jump
Sounds
off. You take a little bit of damage if you.
You feed a carrot to
Guys,
go
guys.
faster.
There you go.
Let's not go down this route. This is Blizzard we're talking about. Like, if we go down this route, they're like, okay, no, you need a level 80 dragon mount, and now you're just flying up in the air as McCree, raining death
That'd be
around the rest.
awesome, dude. Imagine high noon from that height.
So
also,
Pharah.
can we just say high noon?
Fair.
As soon as you hear it's high noon, that has to be the scariest sound of just like everyone walking around
yeah.
looking for it.
If I'm
Yeah,
Genji, I
everybody's-
just immediately put on reflect when I hear the. I knew reflect.
Balance.
I just go against a wall and there's like
Yeah,
nothing.
I literally. I think one time it was funny. I heard it and I went behind a wall and I turned around. And he's like directly behind me, and I was like, oh, whatever.
You know
Just,
what the
like,
funny
took my
thing
hands
is?
off.
There's one really funny thing about that ability. You know that it's actually not named High Noon.
What's it
Oh, yeah?
named?
Deadeye.
Oh, really?
No, it
Yeah.
isn't. It's high noon. Shut up.
I knew.
Oh, it
They need to
is.
change
It
to high-
is named Deadeye.
It is. I knew.
It's high noon. No, it's high noon.
Like I don't
says
call
in
it Death
its name.
Blossom. I call it Die Die Die. That's how I call
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I call dubstep.
Dude, I've been calling it Death Lotus for like months, and then someone told me the
Katarina.
other day that it's Death Blossom, and I was like, that's stupid.
Death-
It's Death Lotus.
Death Lotus is a way better name, actually.
It's Katarina's ult in League of Legends.
Yeah, that's Death
Yeah.
Lotus.
That is it. That is how it
It's
was
too
created.
girly for Reaper.
So okay, so my question is, what do we do to fix some of these people who are at the extremes, like Tracer and
I
Pharah?
have an
What-
idea
what-
for Tracer.
Tracer's just damage. I think her damage
Tracer,
output.
Tracer needs a damage bonus against armored, like high armored targets. She's fine against squishies, like whatever. I don't care if you don't change. They don't change that about her. But when she flanks and there's someone there that's not a squishy, useless. I have to run away. So like I think maybe like either a flat damage buff or like a percentage health damage might be good for her on that front. I think that's what I would do for like just the small, simple, non-mechanical change for Tracer.
I just worry that any buff to Tracer, like I worry that Tracer's that character that after 6 months to a year of the game being released, that they will just dominate the entire game because people will get so stupid good with her that everyone will be picking Tracer and they'll say, please revert the buffs to Tracer, please revert the buff. I was thinking like a couple small level impact would be increase her clip size so that you could just shoot a few more bullets before you have to reload every time. Or a unique one, but it would probably be really hard to code, would be a bonus to non-frontal damage. So if you hit from the side or the back,
Oh.
that it does more damage. So that would really increase her, like what is it that Riot always likes to say? Emphasize the strengths and
Strength of the kit.
Emphasize the strengths and punish the weaknesses. So to really expand it, it'd probably be super hard to code, or I don't know, it would add an extra variable in everything. But
I like the flank. I like that thing, but it's so easy just to move your mouse and turn around, and then suddenly you're not taking bonus damage, and then she's back to where she was.
But that'd be part of the play is how, as a tracer is to to jump around people all the time.
Yeah. Dance around.
Any other ideas?
One of the small bonuses, I think, is if she had more effectiveness against shields. So it would give her a real unique setting against champions like Zarya, Symmetra, and Zenyatta, who actually all operate on a shield for health, whereas other champions have regenerative health.
I don't think it's enough. Well,
that's niching
nice.
her instead of giving her general improvement.
Terribleness.
Yeah. I guess. Well, in that condition too, she would do more damage to Reinhardt's shield and also what's the big guy's name? Shoot.
Winston. But that's a different shield mechanic. So there's a shield in a health class and shield in a defense.
I think if you put it on the health class, you put it on the defense class too. I think just apply it both ways.
Could be.
All right, guys.
Now what about Pharah? What do you do to depower Pharah? Oh, sorry, Chris. Are you trying to close?
We can keep going for a little bit longer. But yeah, I
think this is the biggest question we have, to be honest. Like,
how do you depower Pharah? Take away Mercy's ability to fly.
I mean, she's already been nerfed. Like, that's the funny
Mercy
thing.
instead.
Yeah, take away Mercy's ability to fly.
Or no.
I mean, that takes away too much from her aesthetics.
Give Pharah shields instead of health.
Ooh.
I think it's more punishing her AoE. Just saying, you can get the damage, but you have to be
that's her
much.
thing.
Yeah, I know.
How about rocket speed? How about if you decrease the rocket speed slightly?
What if you changed her flight ability? Make it a little harder to control.
No, then she won't be fun to play.
People be playing with joysticks, like Pharah.
With a flight stick?
I've honestly thought about playing like flight stick with D.Va. That'd be so fun.
Don't give me ideas. Don't give me ideas.
You know those arcade games, the virtual on?
Yeah, dude, I'll play virtual on with D.Va.
Dude, that game was so fun. That is so D.Va.
That's so D.Va.
That's so D.Va.
D.Va.
Reload rate on
Pharah. Can we do the
reload rate?
Raven D.Va?
Reload speed.
That's so D.Va.
So D.Va. Hey guys, any closing thoughts on the show tonight?
Delete Pharah, thank you.
Delete Pharah, thank you.
Or at least give her a bigger wind up on her ultimate. Because right now it's so instantaneous. She's up in the air and it's out.
Yeah.
Like high noon, he has to shout high noon, and there's some sort of loading speed. Soldier 76, you have a call to let you know that aimbot's like out and on the way. Give people
I think our complaints about Pharah are about her ability to stay alive. Like you can't, if you touch her offense, then she becomes less useful. But then I think you nerf her defense, and then she becomes useful in certain situations and not always just being there hitting you in the face.
I'm not taking away her offense. I'm just giving her like a half second of more counterplay for other people. I want to incentivize the counterplay and not take away the strengths.
Do you know what's the wind up right now on it? I can't remember.
It's almost instantaneous.
Yeah, she goes death, right? She says death from above.
Death from above, and then just goes. Yeah. I think. Dude, honestly, the parallel that's coming to my head when we were talking about Pharah is like season 3 Ahri, where like her damage output was just so high and her mobility was so high that she could just run around and like burst a target instantaneously and then run away. Right?
But that's due to Deathfire Grasp.
Yeah, that was Deathfire Grasp, and that was an item thing. But like, I think we've seen from that example of like nerfing damage is never the correct option. I think like
Mercy and Pharah both took more damage while flying, like they're exposing weaknesses. You could say
that would be
interesting.
Yeah,
that would be good.
As soon as it goes up in the air, like one shot anywhere would just like kill you. essentially, or like just like half you, like 2 shots.
Or just do like a 200% damage ratio for everything incoming.
Sure.
Or do like
Could work.
I don't know if any of you did the beta for the Star Wars game, but they essentially made it that if you were in jetpack mode, any hit on you automatically killed you. Like you flew off and your jetpack exploded and you were like thrown 10 ways to Sunday.
I played the
that
beta.
would be-
but I didn't know that.
Yeah, that would be really funny to see with Pharah. Just
Or
like
what
what
if
if
two
one hit
shot.
knocks you out of the air?
Yeah.
What?
One hit knocks you out of the air.
No, then that's too easy. Right?
That's too easy
Because
then,
you
yeah.
I feel like
take a
killing her is
soldier
too brutal.
finger.
Killing her's too
I think
brutal.
she-
Then she completely loses her flying advantage.
If every time she gets hit, her rocket stops working for a second, so she drops like
Like a
I don't know.
stun, like a slight hiccup.
yeah, like
I-
a hiccup in the booster.
You're like that reminds me of like the mini stuns you get hit when like in COD or in other games.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that's not fun. If you're the one being shot, that's not fun.
But if you're the one dying to Pharah too, that's not fun either.
It's like 10 times.
You don't
less
have
fun.
you don't have to be dying to Pharah. Like we've
True.
talked about many ways to not die to
Yeah.
Pharah.
Maybe like every time she takes damage, she slightly falls out of the sky. Like she starts to lose altitude.
Uh-huh. But not like a jerky way.
No. But just like she starts to lose altitude. So like if she's taking consistent damage, like if you have Soldier just like shooting her consistently, maybe she just like falls down.
But she operates on fuel, right? You could also take away her fuel when she gets hit.
Sure.
Yeah, fuel or redlining. So like if her fuel drops to like a dangerous level, maybe it starts sapping her health. So you actually have to actively manage your fuel bar with risking your health against it.
Yeah.
But-
All options.
I like that. That's cool.
That's actually a really good one. Good job, Dylan. That's why you're the
Yay.
smart
Hey,
one.
hey. Tanzan said the first part. I just don't.
And I feel like a Coca-Cola right about now. Whew.
Yeah.
Dude, I was
Oh.
debating whether I was going to pull out the 2-liter by my side and just casually start
You gotta
drinking
do it, man. You gotta do it.
But see, this
Yeah.
is Dylan's a smart guy. Just sometimes he's not, like Volskaya Industries.
Dude,
But
when the glorious revolution happens and those mechs are unleashed on the map, you don't get to drive one.
okay, fair enough. But yeah, Volskaya Industries not a good map. But we'll end it with that. Anyone have any final words on the episode on the topic of attack heroes or offensive heroes? Anything we talked about?
Super fun. Get in your face. YOLO, baby.
Okay, fair enough.
Pharah.
Pharah enough. All right, guys. So, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Again, continuing our month-long New Year's special of role discussions. We'll be talking about Defender heroes next week, and that's going to be on the 13th. So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Please beta soon.
See ya.